Hey everybody, Enigma's Nerd Talk, aka ENT, back again with another video. This time is the top 10 Nintendo 64 games of all time. The Nintendo 64 was a pretty dang good console in my opinion. Looking back, I see that it didn't have as many games as other consoles around that time, like the PlayStation 1, but it definitely had some classics built upon the Super Nintendo and the regular Nintendo, like Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, so you could probably already imagine what's on this list. But without further ado, let's jump right into number 10. Yoshi's Story. One of the cutest games available on the Nintendo 64, and probably like ever made. The first and only Yoshi game available on the console as well. Who wouldn't love to walk around as various colored dinosaurs eating fruits to fill a happiness gauge? It's just all around adorable, fun, child-friendly, as well as something older people can get into as well, since it's quite simple and family-friendly. I mean, really, the goal of the game is to basically make the Yoshis happy by walking through stages, defeating enemies, and eating fruit to freaking fill a happiness gauge. Like, come on. It's pretty dang wholesome, honestly, and I like that. You know, it's typical Nintendo. Child-friendly, family-friendly, and all that. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? They have their niche and they fill it quite well. Coming in at number 9, we have Super Smash Bros. The game that started the whole Smash Bros. Series, paving the way for many fighting game tournaments to come with later entries. I even took place in one tournament myself, and I think I did pretty alright in it. It's another top-selling game on the console and the precursor to Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is considered one of the best fighting games ever and is still enjoyed by many today. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to see Mario fighting Luigi or Yoshi fighting Donkey Kong, so on and so forth. This brought childhood action figures to life, quite literally in the sense of the game, and had them go at it. Compared to later games in the series, this one might be sorely lacking in terms of stages, characters, and more, but it was fun for its time nonetheless. Different than usual fighting games, as you have to knock your opponent out of the ring rather than just lowering their health and getting a KO in the traditional way. Coming in at number 8, we have Mario Party 3. The third iteration of the Mario Party series and the last one for the N64 before the series moved on to the GameCube for Mario Parties 4 through 7. Of all the Mario franchise's sub-series, this one is easily one of my favorites to play growing up. The most fun of the franchise to play with, also with others, because of the wide assortment of minigames to keep you entertained. And once again, it's another very family-friendly game you could play with everybody. I remember I used to play it with my sister, if I remember correctly. Understandably so, however, given the party in the title. Certain improvements were made over previous games, like allowing you to hold 3 items rather than 1 and adding even more mini-games, as well as adding a single-player campaign mode. The game also introduced Princess Daisy and Waluigi as playable characters to the Mario Party series as a whole. Coming in at number 7, we have Bomberman Hero. The second of the Bomberman games available on the Nintendo 64, the Bomberman series was known for its multiplayer and 2D gameplay that wasn't very story-focused or exploration-based. This game was unique in that it allowed fully 3D movement. The previous title, Bomberman 64, was the first in 3D, but this title added the ability for Bomberman to jump, changing it from a maze game or action game to a full-on platformer. This also had one of the best soundtracks of any game on the console. Very nostalgic. I remember playing it as a kid quite a lot. Good times. Coming in at number 6, we have Super Mario 64. A game that is obvious for most to be on this list, I'm sure. The flagship series of Nintendo, the poster boy for gaming for most people, and a fan favorite hero. For some, this is probably at the number 1 spot, which is definitely fair given it is one of the highest rated games of all time, as well as the number 1 selling game on the console. Those accolades are not without reason by any means. When it comes to platformers on the N64, or in this console generation in general, there's not many that surpass Super Mario 64, and even the ones that you can say have, probably draw inspiration from this title to begin with. Pretty impressive considering that this was a launch title for the console as well. Who doesn't remember running around Princess Peach's castle collecting stars for days as a kid? Good times indeed. The castle acting like as a hub of sort that enabled us to travel to various different stages by jumping into paintings scattered throughout the castle interior, was a very interesting and unique way to really design a hub world, with having different various levels to go through and having to explore the whole castle. The whole thing was pretty cool. I liked the design of it, so A+ for that. Coming in at number 5, we have Paper Mario, the second Mario RPG overall and the first in the Paper Mario series. This took some of the more complicated aspects of JRPGs and made them much simpler, lighthearted, and family-friendly, as Mario games tend to be. Also, the whole paper aesthetic was quite interesting and a bit different of a take on the character's design. A Paper Mario cutout that runs around engaging in turn-based combat with Bowser and his minions is quite freaking different than the usual and a nice change of pace, honestly. Also, of course, it's one of the best-selling games on the console, and was a springboard for further games in the series to expand upon the foundation, much like other games in this list. And also, I typically do not add more than one game from a series, but Paper Mario, Mario Party, and Super Mario are all just part of the larger Mario franchise. They are considered separate series, so for the sake of lists like this, they all do count. Coming in at number 4, we have Donkey Kong 64. The first and only Donkey Kong game on the Nintendo 64, as well as the first and only 3D one in the series. Also, it's probably my favorite game out of the whole Donkey Kong series to begin with. This game took the series in a direction of being an adventure platformer rather than a 2D side-scroller. Unfortunately, that quickly was reverted back to the latter for later releases. 5 playable characters, each with their own unique skills, and the game that introduced Tiny Kong, which is Dixie Kong's younger sister, as well as other characters to the series. It was rated pretty decently, with one of the problems being the high amount of bananas to collect with the various characters if you want to get 100% completion. However, for those that enjoy exploring and gathering collectibles, you're definitely enjoy this title right here. It is a collect the bananas kind of game. Yeah, maybe that joke didn't hit, I don't know. Anyways, while you guys get a chance to think about what the top 3 might be, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, follow the channel on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter, click the thumbs up button if you like the video, and check the description box below for any honorable mentions for the console that have not made it to this top 10 list. Now, coming in at number 3, we have Star Fox 64. Yes, indeed. A retelling of the original Star Fox game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It included greatly improved graphics, full-on voice acting, being even the first game on the console to do so, and various other improvements to the original. Another one of the top-selling games on the console and one of the best rail shooters ever made. It was short, sweet, and to the point with the story. You could really relate to Fox's personal interest with the villain Andross, as he is the one who caused the demise of Fox's late father. It was also quite popular online as well because of some of its classic one-liners like the infamous "Do a barrel roll" by Peppy Hare, one of Fox's squad mates, as well as lines by other characters like Slippy, Falco, so on and so forth. Definitely a classic and one of the best games on the console and best games in the overall Star Fox series. Highly recommended. It was very unique with how you would have branching paths and levels, and they didn't really tell you necessarily how to get the other stage, so to speak. You kind of had to figure it out yourself, or of course to go online and find the answer for what you had to do in that level to pick the other path. It wasn't just a left or right or A or B kind of thing. It added more replayability to the game itself, which is freaking great. Coming in at number 2, we have BanjoKazooie. The first game in the overall BanjoKazooie series, of course. This is hailed as a classic game for the N64 and one of the best video games of its time by many. Critically acclaimed and a top 10 selling Nintendo 64 game for good reason. Developed by Rare, who at the time had developed multiple Nintendo 64 games and was considered amongst the top developers at the time with other hits under their belt such as Donkey Kong Country and the Donkey Kong Land trilogies, as well as Diddy Kong Racing and more. BanjoKazooie is fun and a great alternative platformer on the N64 to the classic Super Mario 64, with its focus a bit more on adventuring and collecting various items, as well as collecting new skills, which added greater depth and variety to the game itself. The epitome of what we come to expect from a Nintendo 64 game. Last but not least, coming in at number 1, obviously so, is The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Now, of course, the game would be on the list. Most would assume it was just a matter of where it would be placed. Once again, this is one of the highest selling Nintendo 64 games ever, critically acclaimed, and one of the highest rated video games of all time for any console. A prototypical action-adventure game, yet also feeling like a mastered one at that as well. The first of the 3D Zelda games and the best of the group. From the combat to the soundtrack to the exploration, it feels smooth, deep, and satisfying all around. One of the only games that I've beaten multiple times and still have interest in doing it over again just for fun. It's a great example of a game from a series that started out one way and took a chance at something much grander and succeeded and paved the way for other games to even further kick in the door of innovation in video gaming. It is also the very first game that I have ever made a Let's Play of on the channel, which you can find in the description box below. I will be linking the playthrough to. And one of my favorite games of all time, without a doubt. Now, thank you guys for watching. This was the top 10 Nintendo 64 games of all time. Hope you enjoyed it. What is your top 10? Feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I will definitely be checking it out and responding to all of you. This is ENT, and I am OUT.